In the early morning hours of December 30th, two young children slept peacefully in their home while their parents were murdered just feet away. The killer left almost no trace, no forced entry, no weapon at the scene. For weeks, investigators had nothing but questions and a neighborhood on edge. Then came the footage that would crack the case wide open. Spencer Tepe was supposed to show up for work that morning. As a dentist at Athens Dental Depot in Ohio, he was always punctual, always reliable. When his phone went unanswered and his chair sat empty, his manager grew alarmed. From a vacation in Florida, the practice owner called Columbus police, requesting a wellness check. Something was very wrong. The first officer dispatched that morning went to the wrong address. He knocked on doors, checked windows, circled the property for 10 minutes before realizing his mistake. By the time police arrived at the correct location on North 4th Street, it was too late. Spencer Tepe lay dead on the second floor. Shot multiple times, his wife Monique was found nearby, killed by at least one gunshot to the chest. Their children, ages 4 and 1, were discovered unharmed inside the home, along with the family dog. The scene confounded investigators from the start. No signs of forced entry suggested the killer either had a key or was let inside. No weapon recovered meant the murderer had brought the gun and taken it with them. No obvious motive presented itself in those first chaotic hours. The couple had been married for 5 years, having exchanged vows in the very home where they now lay dead. They were devoted parents building what everyone described as a life rooted in love. Columbus Police Chief Elaine Bryant quickly ruled out murder-suicide. But beyond that, authorities remained tight-lipped. The silence only intensified public interest as the case drew national attention. Detectives worked methodically, piecing together a timeline. Based on forensic evidence and witness statements, they determined the murders occurred between 2 and 5 in the morning. During those dark hours, while snow blanketed the Wineland Park neighborhood just north of downtown Columbus, someone crept into the Tepe home and executed both victims. The precision suggested planning, not passion. The lack of disturbance indicated familiarity with the house layout. This was no random home invasion. Police began canvassing the neighborhood for surveillance cameras. In modern investigations, video footage has become the silent witness that never forgets, never lies, and captures what human eyes might miss. Detectives collected recordings from doorbell cameras, security systems, and business surveillance equipment within blocks of the crime scene. Hundreds of hours of footage required analysis. Investigators looked for anything unusual during that critical 3-hour window. Then came the breakthrough. Surveillance footage captured a lone figure walking through the alley behind the Tepe residence during the estimated time of the murders. The grainy video showed someone dressed in light-colored pants and a dark hooded coat, head down, moving deliberately through the snow-covered passage. The person appeared to know exactly where they were going. On January 6th, more than a week after the killings, police released this footage to the public. They described the individual as a person of interest, carefully avoiding the word suspect while the investigation continued. The video release triggered an avalanche of tips. Community members who had been watching the case unfold suddenly had something concrete to examine. The footage spread across social media, analyzed by armchair detectives and shared thousands of times. Police monitored these online discussions but cautioned that much of the speculation was inaccurate. Still, legitimate leads poured in, each one requiring follow-up and verification. Behind the scenes, detectives were building a much larger picture. Additional surveillance footage showed a silver SUV arriving in the neighborhood just before the murders and departing shortly after. The vehicle had distinctive features that caught investigators' attention. Frame-by-frame analysis allowed them to track its movements through multiple camera systems. The SUV appeared at several locations that night, creating a digital trail the driver likely never anticipated. Investigators also discovered something chilling. 3 weeks before the murders on December 6th, surveillance cameras captured someone lurking around the Tepe property for hours. That was the day Spencer and Monique had traveled to Indiana for the Big Ten championship football game. During the game, Monique became upset about something involving her ex-husband and left early to return to their hotel. Her friends noticed the distress but had no idea what was coming. The ex-husband was Michael David McKee, a 39-year-old vascular surgeon living in Chicago. McKee and Monique had married in August 2015. The relationship lasted less than 2 years before Monique filed for divorce in May 2017. The marriage was officially dissolved 1 month later. Court records would later reveal a darker story. Multiple witnesses told police that Monique had confided McKee was abusive during their marriage. She said he forced unwanted sex upon her and strangled her. More disturbingly, Monique told friends and family that McKee threatened he could kill her at any time, that he would find her and buy the house right next to hers, that she would always be his wife. These weren't empty threats made in anger, they were promises of control that extended years beyond the divorce. Despite these warnings shared with loved ones, Columbus police had no official reports of incidents between McKee and Monique before the murders. The threats remained whispered fears, never formally documented until detectives began interviewing witnesses after the killings. The surveillance footage tracking the silver SUV proved crucial in connecting McKee to the crime. Investigators traced the vehicle from Columbus to Rockford, Illinois, nearly 350 miles away. The SUV had identifying features including a stolen Ohio license plate. Additional video evidence confirmed McKee had been in possession of this vehicle before and after the murders. His movements were meticulously documented by cameras he never knew were watching. On the morning of the murders, McKee's cell phone remained inactive at the hospital where he worked. For approximately 17 hours, the device showed no activity whatsoever. It was the kind of deliberate step someone might take to create an alibi, leaving the phone behind to suggest they never left the area. But McKee had underestimated modern investigative techniques. Digital breadcrumbs and surveillance networks had replaced older methods of tracking suspects. On January 10, 2026, 11 days after the murders, police arrested Michael McKee at a Chick-fil-A restaurant near his workplace in Rockford. During searches of his properties, investigators recovered multiple weapons. One firearm showed a preliminary ballistic link through the National Integrated Ballistic Information Network, tying it to evidence found at the crime scene. The gun had been located in McKee's Lincoln Park apartment in Chicago, hidden but not well enough. Columbus Police Chief Bryant held a press conference revealing what investigators believed. McKee was the person captured on surveillance video walking through the alley behind the Tepe home. This was a targeted attack. She explained a domestic violence-related crime that destroyed 2 lives and shattered a family. McKee was charged with 4 counts of aggravated murder and 1 count of aggravated burglary with a firearm suppressor. The charges carried severe penalties. In Ohio, aggravated murder can result in life imprisonment without parole or even the death penalty. The charges required prosecutors to prove McKee acted with prior calculation and design, that these killings were planned rather than impulsive. The evidence suggested exactly that kind of premeditation. The reconnaissance visit weeks earlier, the careful attention to leaving his phone behind, the specific targeting of both victims. McKee was extradited to Ohio and booked into the James A. Carnes Correctional Center on January 20th. Video from his booking showed a man who seemed strangely detached, yawning at one point, appearing almost bored by the proceedings. During his arraignment on January 23rd, McKee pleaded not guilty to all charges. His defense attorney waived a bond hearing, at least temporarily. He now awaits trial while the Tepe family tries to comprehend their loss. The case highlights how surveillance technology has transformed criminal investigations. What once required eyewitnesses and physical evidence now increasingly depends on digital recordings. The footage that initially showed only a person of interest became the thread that unraveled an entire case. Multiple camera systems working together created an unblinking record of movements, vehicle tracking, and timing that would have been impossible just decades ago. For the Tepe family, the arrest brought no comfort, only a step toward accountability. Spencer and Monique's children now face a future without the parents, who adored them. The home where the couple exchanged wedding vows became a crime scene, a place of unimaginable tragedy. Friends and family remember Monique as a joyful mother and thoughtful planner who loved baking. Spencer was recalled as a dedicated dentist and caring mentor involved with Big Brothers Big Sisters. The investigation continues as prosecutors prepare their case. The surveillance footage that changed everything will likely become key evidence at trial, showing jurors the careful stalking that preceded the violence. For investigators, it proved that modern criminals can run, but they cannot hide from the cameras that now watch nearly every corner of our world. In the end, it was technology combined with determined detective work that gave voice to two victims who could no longer speak for themselves.